the church would be like, "Hey, we want you to do this about the part about the Jesus and the Mary," And Beethoven was like, "Ich Stein, you."
What's up, everybody? Welcome back, Airheads. It's time once again for putting on airs to dumbasses talking fancy stuff. As always, I'm Trae. That's the Cho. How you doing over there? He's been about dead again the past few years.
I'm telling you, man.
You stay about dead these days.
I know, man. Like every time, and actually, usually, like when this happens, like on my hero, like I'll at least miss like one post that I always, make up for. That's welovecorey.com. But usually, like as soon as I know, like I'm gonna be out of commission, I'll put on there like, "Hey guys, if anything's a little wonky this week, it's just because blah blah blah." And this week I actually like didn't say that because I was like, these people are going to start thinking that like I'm a crack addict or like or something is like completely wrong with me because I'm like too sick. Which like you've explained to me, I thought this at one point. I was like, dude, do I have AIDS or something? And I'm not trying to be flippant. I was like, I think I might be dying. And you're like, dude, it's just because you got youngins. And it truly seems to be because I can pretty much like set my watch to if my wife comes home with my son and he starts slobbering on me and I'm like, "What'd y'all do today?" She's like, "We went to the jump park." I'm like, "Yep." And then the next day I'm sick. So like it just is what it is. But this week was like a whole different thing. I had vertigo plus I was sick and it's just a whole thing. But I'm back, baby. I'm here. What up?
Does hit. It feels like I thought of something I wanted to bring up and I was like, surely we've talked about that on the show, but I couldn't remember if we had or not.
You should never let that bother you.
Okay, such a POA topic in my opinion. Have we talked about brunch on here?
Not that I can remember, but again, if we have, it's been 200 episodes ago, so we could use a refresher.
Well,
I've heard Bert Kreischer tell the same story 10 times in a row on their very popular podcast. It'll be fine.
We are white millennials, so
you're white. I'm white. I think we're two different shades. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm white trash is what I am.
Right.
But I'm kind of reformed white trash, and I'm very much married to a white woman.
Yeah, you're actually, like, you've leaned harder the other way. Like, there's my fucking bio furries. Now you are more white than me. Like, you've jumped me in white by living in California. I don't know, bro. 10 years living in California.
You still go antiquing and all that shit.
I'm gay. There's a difference.
You play golf. You go antiquing.
I hadn't played golf in a year.
I can't touch none of that in terms of whiteness.
That's true. You can't.
But we were in San Diego this past weekend, and we were in La Jolla specifically, and we had brunch in La Jolla, which is super white, all of that. But I was thinking about while we were there, I was like, oh, brunch is like it's fancy but accessible. People like it because it's like they act like they fancy when they get together and have brunch and stuff. But it's just like I have to imagine that your wife is a big fan of brunch, right? Like.
By big fan, do you mean lives for it?
Yeah, right.
Because, and by the way, I want to say this. It's one of those things where it's like you want to say it's fancy, but at the same time, it's like it just means you were too hungover for regular breakfast is all it means.
Did you know that that's kind of, I mean, it's not that it's that surprising, but that's like the actual origin of it, basically.
Well, I mean, I figured it had to be. People were just like, I don't get up. And so, let's just call it this, and then we don't have to feel bad.
There was a guy, I meant to set this up differently and ask if you know who Guy Barringer is, and I know that you wouldn't.
Bro, I thought you were about to say Guy Brunch, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that'd be the wildest thing.
Guy Barringer. I was going to say no one knows who this guy is, and it's a shame because he should be on like the Mount Rushmore of white people, I think, arguably.
Okay, let's do that real quick.
4 white people.
Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers.
Like the Mount Rushmore for like Amber is what I'm saying. For people like Amber.
Yeah.
for
Okay.
basic white women. And I'm married to one, no disrespect. I'm also married to one. I think they would both acknowledge their basic white womanness. So I mean, like the basic white woman, Mount Rushmore, and that's
Yeah.
still confusing because I do not mean that the people on it are women.
Of course
I,
not.
I mean
Of
that.
course
I
not.
mean that.
Most of them aren't because they're innovators.
People that hit for basic white women or are
Yeah.
important to basic white women, the Mount Rushmore of them. I don't know
Yeah.
who else is on it, but I think Guy Barringer should be
Ray
on it.
Dunn.
Ray Dunn, yeah, that's
Whoever came up with Panera, the founder of Panera Bread,
and also Lululemon, maybe. Which
there you
is
go.
funny.
We've got it. We've got it.
Yeah, because the founder of Lululemon is a fucking maniac,
Maniac. Yeah.
like a racist,
tell the story.
fat hating maniac, which is
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, didn't he? He named it Lululemon because he was like, because
This will be hard for Asian
Chinese people
to say,
and it's funny. Yeah. Like, admittedly,
I hate to
that's
laugh,
what
but yeah,
yeah, no, he's lunatic, dude. He's a Lulu lunatic. But Guy Barringer should be on there too, I think, because he is the man who's credited with basically inventing and helping to popularize brunch, and particularly coming up with the word brunch to begin with. In a 1895, an article for at the time popular periodical called Hunter's Weekly. That's another thing too. Some people think that brunch originated from you know how they do it in fancy hunts in England, the fox hunting and shit?
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
you do that like mid-morning, and they would have their, peasants set them up a spread beforehand, before a hunt. And,
by the way, in the archives, we covered hunting in our Venn diagram in an early episode. Because you're right. That was like,
yes,
hunting is so much different over there, and theirs is like an orchestrated, fancy thing.
Yeah, I knew we'd talked about that, but they used to have a meal before they go fox hunting, and some people think that that's what led to brunch because the time of day they would do that would be like mid-morning. And anyway, in an article in Hunter's Weekly in England in 1895, Guy Barringer wrote in there that we should adopt this new thing called brunch, and the way that the reason he gave for it was, he says, just to read a quote from it, by eliminating the need to get up early on a Sunday morning, brunch would make life brighter for Saturday night carousers.
I was about to say, because
it
like
would
the
promote
dudes that
human happiness in other ways as well. So it literally was like, look, we all, we're too hungover to get up and have breakfast on Sunday. Let's just eat breakfast a little later. Like, it's like those things hit, but I'm not going to be up in time to eat them.
Let's give it a name.
Just eat them a little later and just call it another thing, and people are like, I say,
right. I was about to say, because like these dudes that
capital
were going on
idea there, Barringer.
because
then they went with it.
These dudes that are doing these hunts, because like I've been to not like fox hunting hunts, but like dove shoots or whatever, where like you get there, like if the big dove shoot is Saturday, you get there Friday night. You know what I mean? You get there Friday night, and everybody, it's not like you get there Friday night to go right to bed. Like, everybody parties like a son of a bitch, and you get like 2 hours of sleep. You open your eye, or you wake up to someone blasting a shotgun at a dove. You know what I mean? Like, those dudes were definitely like, if we're getting together to hunt, the night before, we're going to sit in my lodge and with snifters of brandy and talk about how we've changed the world.
Yeah, to be clear, it's not an accepted fact that it came from the hunting thing. That's like a theory that people have.
Nah, it's real. Men did it. We're taking it.
What is accepted is that this dude, Guy Barringer, is the one who came up with the word brunch and made it like a formalized thing or whatever. The other things that people say led to its popularity in the early 20th century, which it's like, from my perspective, I know, like at O'Charlie's, we had a brunch menu 20 years ago, right?
Hey,
I knew that it was a thing, obviously, but I feel like in the Instagram era, like brunch has just gone to the fucking moon. I had two different friends of mine talking about two different cities say the exact same thing to me when we were writing our book. I talked to my buddy Jared about Nashville because he lived there for years. And I talked to our boy Sam Talent about Denver because he's from there. Ironically, Jared now lives in Denver, but that has nothing to do with this. Both of them separately about Nashville and about Denver. Jared said about Nashville and Sam said about Denver, completely independently of one another. Dude, it's just like the whole thing is just brunch now. It's like the whole city is just brunch. They said that about both of those places.
Too.
Do what?
Chattanooga too, big time.
Right.
But to
and
back
it's
up
like,
on what
it's just filled up with people. Just everything's Instagrammable. Everything's like cute.
You go
and
out
Pinteresty.
Saturday night, you wake up Sunday at 9, and then you
right.
O'Charlie's, by the way, O'Charlie's is literally where I like. When you said that the word was invented in 1890 something, like that kind of blew my mind because like I knew it had to be earlier than 2010, and the South just got it late. But like O'Charlie's is the reason I know what it is because it got popular around that time you're talking about, and I lived near an O'Charlie's, and like I didn't have. Dude, I was a broke comic living with this girl, and like it was a fucking like treat for us to go on Sunday to O'Charlie's, and y'all had that one of the brunch items was like it was steak and eggs or something. It was like a sirloin or whatever. And like I remember for years, and I'm a steak snob, and this is just how far chain restaurants have fallen. Like there was a time where I would tell people, I was like, look, I'm a steak snob, but God damn it, the brunch sirloin at O'Charlie's, if they cook it right for you, is fire. Like it's a good meal, and it was, dude, I swear to God, it was like $10.99 for like a sirloin and eggs and all this shit. Like it was really good. But like, yeah, that's how I found out about it.
My jam at O'Charlie's on Sundays was, I think on Saturday and Sundays both, not exclusively a brunch thing. We had it till we ran out, but only on the weekends we had prime rib.
God.
I used to throw down on that prime rib. Shout out O'Charlie's, Cookeville, Tennessee, the number one selling O'Charlie's in the nation. Just not bragging, just saying. Anyway.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
We got the number one Golden Corral still.
That checks out.
Have I told you how hard our Golden Corral hits?
No, it's different from other Golden Corrals?
Well, no.
Golden's Corral?
Golden's Corral? Yeah, yes. That's the plurality of it. So there was a Shoney's in Fort Oglethorpe forever, right? And then the Golden Corral moved in right beside the Shoney's, okay? And it quickly just started smashing, and the Golden Corral hit so hard, it bought Shoney's and bulldozed it just to turn it into a parking lot for that Golden Corral because it is the number one Golden Corral in the entire country. And, buddy, I'm telling you, it don't matter what is going on. It don't matter what is going on. That place is packed to the gills. I mean, we're in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. We got the best Golden Corral.
Fat, dumb fucks just eating just sidling up to the feeding trough, going in.
And I mean, I'm one of them.
Love it, absolutely. Yeah. Big fan. We ate at a Golden Corral like 2-3 weeks ago. Me, Kay, and the boys did. Like it's not been long since I've been to one.
me and Amber were driving to Rodizio Grill, which is it's a Brazilian steakhouse that they come and give you meat or whatever, but it also has a buffet we're going to Rodizio Grill and we drive by Golden Corral and Amber was like, ugh. And I was like, what? Ugh. She's like, what's just the buffet or whatever? I was like, we're going to a buffet right now. She's like, yeah, but and I was like, they got the same standards. You know what I mean? They just don't have a dude shaving pineapple or whatever. But like, as a matter of fact, I would say that the Golden Corral probably has stricter food, standards, wouldn't you think, than anybody else?
I mean, I don't know why you think. Why do you think that?
Because it's a buffet and people are serving themselves. I figure there'd have to be different rules. You know what I mean? There has to be stricter rules. If they're getting, and this Golden Corral always gets an A+. Like I'm sure that there's more codes that have to be, I'm basing that on nothing. Just like the JFK
I'll say
files.
This is very, very different because this was not a Golden Corral. This was a Chinese buffet. But
that's the Wild West, there, buddy.
Sure, but all I'm saying is, I mean, there's still structure. What I saw happen there could 100% happen in a Golden Corral, and no one would ever know. Is my point. Years ago, with Kate, me and Katie were dating at the time. We were at a Chinese buffet, and she liked those little sugar donut things, sugar rolls that they have at Chinese
you don't like
buffets. Them? Do what?
Oh, you don't like them? It's just Katie that liked them?
I don't. So when I'm at a Chinese buffet, I'm there to do a very certain type of work, and and sweets are not a part of it for me.
That's fair. That's fair.
I know what I'm about. And it's like, I'll have my sweets from elsewhere. I'm not wasting
Right.
food space
Right.
on a goddamn roll,
Right.
when
If
it
we're
could be
winning at
more.
the end of this, I'll take a knee. But until then,
Yeah. Anyway, but she was like, she closes it out with that. She wants dessert, and she was like, she's like, she's going up there to get her rolls. I'm walking right behind her, and she's doing a little happy dance, like ooh, it's rolls time. And in front of her, there's a little fat Mexican boy walking.
I don't know why I knew he'd be Mexican. I don't know why.
Yeah, a little fat Mexican boy walking up in between like the buffet bars, or whatever you call them, and he's going further up. He's headed for the chicken wings or whatever. But as he's walking by the rolls, the sweet rolls, he just stops, turns his head, and goes, Phew! And just like sneezes like violently straight on to the fucking rolls, right? Like they have those sneeze guards, but this is a child,
Right.
and
So
his head is right at like roll height. And he just stops, like just hurls fucking snot and slobber all over him, and then just turns his head back forward and just keeps
Vominos.
walks off. Yeah, vominos. Walks on to the chicken wings. Me and Katie are the only ones who saw it. But she of course was like just deflated so quickly. Because she was not going to eat those rolls.
And you were like, now I want some sweet rolls.
I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah,
but like, how many times
think
does
they'd
that
have a
happen
sliding
at a buffet?
door now?
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, how many times does something like that happen at a buffet?
All the time.
You didn't know. It happens all the time, right? It has to.
Yeah. It
So that's
also
what I'm
happens
saying.
at restaurants with the fucking cooks back there, but not as often.
That's so
but
good.
Not,
As somebody that's
but the
worked in
frequency.
as somebody who's worked in restaurants, like not in a long time, and I know not ever at restaurants created equal, but like, just for example, at the O'Charlie's in Cookeville, Tennessee, and then also at Crawdaddy's after that, which is a locally owned place.
How was their food at Crawdaddy's?
Phenomenal, fantastic,
Great food. Okay, good.
best in town, in my opinion. Anyway, at both of those places, I'm not kidding. I literally severed, and I never saw anything like that. Like, they were like, people took that shit very fucking seriously.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to make sense. I would make. But
I'm
I don't
sure
even know what I'm saying. But of course, but not with the frequency when you've got like in a buffet, every food is passed by a human, like a random human.
So anyway, to get back to brunch, what I was going to say is like that it's not like an accepted fact that it started with hunting meals or whatever. Another like theory about how it became popular in America. Well, first of all, you said you're like, I was shocked when I heard that year. I was too. I knew that it wasn't like a brand new thing. I knew it had become extremely popular in recent years, but I didn't know it had been around for more than 100 years though. But it has.
Never.
But it has, and it like went at first for like first 50 years up to like the 40s or 50s. It was, of course, just rich people in fancy hotels and stuff. One of the theories is how it started to get popular in America is that, and this could be 100% apocryphal, Hollywood stars and starlets going between New York and LA, right, in the 20s and 30s, so like golden era, silent era, pre-planes. Right. They're going between New York and LA. They're on trains. They would stop in Chicago to eat, and it would be like brunch time when they stopped there, and they would go to the fanciest places in Chicago or whatever and eat brunch, and they're fancy and famous and all that, and that popularized and glorified the idea of brunch. But that could be bullshit. But it was just a rich people thing for a long time, and then in the 50s when they started what's the word? Like processed foods and stuff started coming out. You could buy like jars of maple syrup, that type of shit, pancake mixes and stuff. Yeah. Then it started to spread to the plebes, to the regular people, and then it kind of went on from there. Took off from there.
You know what I just realized why it wasn't a thing for me when I was a kid or in the South? Church. I would have never had it, but I'm saying like, cuz my point is that like it wasn't uncommon to have breakfast foods at a different time because Brenner was a huge fucking thing. So like I knew about Brenner long before brunch, but brunch makes way more sense.
That is also a part of the theory of it becoming more popular was church became less popular.
There you go. Good.
But I mean, I would argue Well, first of all, I guess it used to just be an exclusively Sunday thing for a long time, and now, I mean, I feel like most places that do brunch, they do it on Saturday and Sunday both.
You about to say it's not like they ain't go to church in England or you know.
No, I'm just gonna say that, like, I don't know how y'all be. I know that. Well, yeah, the places I've worked at and every restaurant I go to, when they have a brunch menu, it runs from like 10 to 2 or 3. Now, I know that it's like if you eat at noon or 1 or 2, that's just lunch or later.
Yeah.
But it's brunch items.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I fuck with a brunch. I almost never eat brunch at a brunch time. I've never haven't really thought about it. I'm in a place that has a brunch menu on a weekend, but it's like 1, 2 p.m.
Well, and there's also like specific brunch items where it's like I'm sure at the beginning it was just what you would normally have for breakfast, but 2 hours later. And now there's stuff that is like it's specifically brunch. Like nobody would serve this at 8:00. It's specifically like it's a brunch hybrid thing. And I also usually the only time I'll ever get anything other than just like a regular breakfast type thing at brunch, which for me is bacon, eggs, pancakes, sausage, is like if someone does shrimp and grits for brunch, all in it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
I was going to get to this eventually, but now that the subject is broached anyway, so I was going to say, what's your move at brunch? So you're telling me your move typically is just like eggs, bacon, pancakes, toast.
The most brunch I'll ever get
just a breakfast
is an eggs
meal.
The most I'll ever go from traditional breakfast, aside from shrimp and grits, is an eggs Benny.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Which eggs Benny to me is like that's the one where it's like this is the meeting of the two things.
Yep, I agree. I was going to say to me, eggs Benny is the poster
Absolutely.
food of
that's
brunch.
Uncle Sam. Yeah.
And it defines brunch. But eggs Benny, mimosas, and Bloody Marys are the things I think of when I think of brunch. But
a crab Benny?
For me, eggs Benedict is also, it's not just that it's the preeminent brunch food. That is my brunch pick every time.
Yeah.
Like I love me a fucking Benny, dog. That's what I got this past weekend. I mean, goddamn, it hit so hard.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a fancy restaurant in Lower Manhattan. I guess they have a few locations actually. Delmonico's? You lived in New York for a little bit.
Yeah, I never ate there when I lived there because, I didn't have no money. But, yes, I definitely knew about Delmonico's.
Delmonico's which is a bit of a Manhattan institution, fancy restaurant place, they claim to have invented the Eggs Benedict in 1860. But that's disputed. Another feller, and this was printed in the New Yorker in 1942, a Wall Street man, stockbroker by the name of Lemuel Benedict. Lemuel Benedict said he claimed to have invented the Eggs Benny at the Waldorf Hotel in 1894.
I'm with him.
He came in and asked them to throw together some buttered toast, poached eggs, crisp bacon, and a hooker of hollandaise.
Hell yeah. God.
And the maitre d'
that's my type of woman right there.
Yeah, hollandaise hooker. Love it. The maitre d' there was so impressed with the dish, he put it on their menus and named it after the guy, and it was Eggs Benedict. So, I don't know which of those is true. It's apparently the Benny's origins are disputed. But they also, a lot of people fuck with the Benedict, meaning like, I don't mean enjoy
Make it bad. Make it
that
bad.
too. Well, I just mean alter it. Like
yes.
Like I'll throw down on like a crab Benny. Here we go.
Crab Benny is the only way I'll go off.
Change it. Me too. Yep. That's what I was going to say. Yep. I'll get a crab Benny every now and then. Other than that, I just want it to what comes straight up. I don't want to make any alterations to it.
Me too.
But there's like an avocado toast version of Benny's, and people put like smoked salmon on them, or like the Florentine kind with spinach,
All of these, if I was at someone's house and that's what they were serving, would smash for me, but I'm not ordering it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And can I tell you something? The reason I said earlier, the reason I didn't go straight to the Benny when I was like, only things I get is straight breakfast or shrimp and grits. I got turned off of the Eggs Benny at several restaurants that me and Amber used to go to brunch for because they would constantly overcook the egg. And if you overcook the egg,
that ruins the whole thing.
I know, right? I know. So like
renders it pointless, really.
Exactly. And so we would go there, and I was like, one time I'm like, okay, they whatever. 2 times I'm like, they just overcooked the egg. And yeah, if I'm getting like a medium boiled egg on my Benny, like I'm just going to get the shrimp and grits. But like if I go to a place where I know like this place seems like they're not going to screw this up, it's the eggs Benny all day. Like it's one of the greatest foods that's ever existed. Like it's almost too much.
It does hit very hard. You said the only way you'll deviate from it is to get shrimp and grits, or well, not deviate from that. Deviate from a breakfast order is to get shrimp and grits sometimes.
Yeah.
For me, the only time I'll ever not get a Benny is if I'm at a place that does some sort of hash, like a corned beef hash. Or some kind, like you throw down on a hash. I like me a hash now.
You know I do. I love that. I'm a big fan of hash. It's just very hard for me. It's just very hard for me to, at that hour, I like like with the shrimp and grits, as with the eggs Benny, I like runny, soupy things that just slide down my throat. You know what I mean? But I love a hash. As a matter of fact, when we were at someplace in Denver, to go back to what Sam was saying, I had some type of chile corned beef hash that was fire, and it was one of those places that did like they had their whole menu all day or whatever, and we were there at like 2 a.m. or something. But oh, dude, I love a corned beef hash.
Okay, obviously one of the main reasons people love fucking brunch, and white women love brunch, whether they admit it or not, and most of them would admit it, I'm sure, is that
who don't like eating at any time.
Well, this ain't about the eating though. You can get drunk in the morning, and it's fine.
It's business drunk somehow.
Day drinking, everybody loves day drinking. I think, and it's like this is the most common justification for a woman, especially, to get drunk in broad daylight. Because most places, obviously, they do the bottomless mimosa.
I'm not
mimosa
an alcoholic.
Or Bloody Mary.
Yeah, me mimosa. Well, hold on now. Am I going to be having a lot of drinks? Mimosa.
Well, I mean that's up to you.
Well, I'm saying if I'm going to be having a lot of drinks, it's mimosa. If I'm just like I'm going to be one and done, I'm going to do Bloody Mary. And it really depends because, like, sometimes it's rare that I'm going to brunch, and if I go to brunch and I'm super hungover, I'm going straight to the mimosas because it's easier on my stomach. If I go to brunch and I'm like, I hadn't gone out the night before, I want a Bloody Mary because I want something savory immediately and to be drunk on it, especially if that place does like those Bloody Marys that got the shrimp and the bacon and all that shit on it. I'm just like, go ahead, give me that.
Those things, that's a good point, bringing those up, because it's like things are just, I don't know, reality like flanderizes itself. Things always get out of hand, especially in like the TikTok and Instagram era, where it's like shit just be wild. Like, not like, like it.
Milkshakes that be like that?
I was about to bring them up.
They ain't got
nothing to do with brunch, but like, dude, milkshake places, they're completely out of control. The Congress needs to step in.
Yeah,
somebody needs to regulate these fucking milkshake places because they're losing their minds out here. But
I can break down why they're different things. Like a milkshake with too much shit on it is way different than a Bloody Mary with too much shit on it. Because a Bloody Mary with too much shit on it is just a drink with appetizers in a straw. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes. And I can. So you throw an olive, piece of candied bacon, something like that on in a Bloody Mary, hits for me real hard.
Couple shrimp.
Sure, yeah, a couple shrimp maybe, but the ones that's like you see them online sometimes, it's like they got a fucking pepperoni pizza on there.
Yeah, dude, get out of here. Unless that's now, if that's all you're ordering,
12
like
chicken wings and shit.
Yeah, dude, get out of here. Now, if that's all you're ordering, you're like, I want one Bloody Mary plus this piece of pizza and these wings. Like, that's a good deal, I guess. You know what I mean? But like, no, I'm with you. But like, Bloody Mary to me is a 1 or 2 drink. Whereas mimosas are let's see how the day goes. I might have 1,000.
Yeah, you can't have more than 1 or 2 Bloody Marys. That's
because
for sure,
it is tomato soup. Like it is tomato soup.
Those But the milkshake places, just to put a button on that, like what kills me, I think, the most about them is that they'll take the glass and they'll coat it.
I
They'll
know.
coat the glass in
I
chocolate and
know.
nuts and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? If some kid tries to bite into it and just eats glass and dies, or it's like, or yeah, you're supposed to lick the glass
Right.
until that comes off.
Like,
You're just
dude,
wasting toppings for
right.
literally no reason. Then they put a whole goddamn cake on top of it and shit. It's like, what are we
Dude,
doing here?
these dudes on Fox News call us gay for using a straw. Like, imagine a picture of someone just licking the side of a jar for half an hour. No, it's the waste that does it for me. Because I'm
Right.
like, are you really like? And dude, me and you, I don't think we're letting anything out of the bag here. We're both fat pieces of shit,
Yeah.
right? But even to me, a large milkshake, just the milkshake, is enough. Like,
Oh, it's
that's
more than
so
enough, bro.
I will kill myself after. I'm gonna do it. I
Yeah.
will do it. But like, dude, like, and then you start putting the stuff in it. But like, I'm a malt guy. Like, I'm an old school guy. But like, one large vanilla malt, call me in 2 days, and you're gonna put a cake and peppermints and all this shit on it. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm with you. But so for me, it's between mimosas and Bloody Mary. I'm picking Bloody Mary because I
The
agree with you. Though I
nutrients.
won't ever have more than one or two Bloody Marys. But like mimosa, I don't really fuck with mimosas because I'll
You
just
know
get
what?
a screwdriver. Is what
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you.
Meaning, like it's the same thing, but it's vodka instead of
But
champagne. Because I ain't no bitch, you know.
yeah,
Like I'm
but
trying to fucking. What are we doing here? I'm trying to throw down hobo style. Just put some Everclear in that bitch. I don't fucking waste my time with wines when
yeah.
I
Well,
could go
that's
when I could go straight to liquor. That's
that's
sort
fair,
of how
but
I
they don't
look at it.
have. That's fair, but they don't have bottomless screwdrivers. They do have bottomless
True.
mimosas.
Yeah, that's a good
You know what
point.
I mean?
Yeah,
Because
pretty
that's
much the
the
only time I'll ever have a mimosa is if you're on like a transcontinental flight and
yeah,
you've been upgraded to first class. They'll have mimosas up there, and I'll fuck with that just to stunt on the
the
peasants, you know.
dude. The
But
sole reason I ever tried a mimosa is because it had the word bottomless attached to it.
right,
Because before that,
I just remembered you
I
used
was
to
like,
think that they were called mimosas.
it's not that it's just that's how I look, man. My buddy Chris grew up on Mimosa Lane is how we used to always say it, and I
Uh
knew
huh.
that place before I ever knew the drink, and everybody was like, he's over on Mimosa, you know what I mean? And then these drinks come along that are spelled the same way, and as I've
Right.
told y'all, like, I tend to, it doesn't seem like I would. I know it doesn't seem like I would, but this is why I'm constantly mispronouncing like politicians' names and stuff that everybody's like, how do you not know? Like, I was calling Kamala for a very long
Yeah,
time.
well, a lot of people were doing that.
I know they were, but like, I wasn't. A lot of people were doing it for like spiteful reasons or whatever. But my reasons are, I know it doesn't look like I would, but I actually read more than I listen. Like, especially when it comes to news and stuff like that. So it's all based on just like what it goes in here. You know what I mean? And so like you know, I don't know. I just, if I saw Mimosa, I'd be like, Mimosa, Sammy Sosa.
Sure. Here, fun fact. Quite the coinky dink, because I feel like again when it comes to brunch, mimosas and Bloody Marys are like they are the two like brunch cocktails or drinks.
Them and Sangria, yeah.
Yeah, sangria is another one. But those two, Bloody Marys and mimosas, reportedly were invented the exact same year. They had nothing to do with each other, or they were not in the same place, but the same year. Would you like to guess what year that was?
I would say it was the year Tim Waltz was born because something like that. 19. No, it has to be. Dude, hold on. If Brunch, hold up. Okay, let's really think about this, Corey. That's got
Why'd
to
you
be
say Tim Walt? What's Tim
well,
Walt got to do
I
with this?
said Kamala, something like that, and you go Coinky Dink.
No, no,
I
no.
don't
I
know.
just meant it's a coinky dink that the
Oh,
Bloody
that they
Mary
were
and the
invented the same.
mimosa were
Oh,
invented the
okay.
same year.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's true.
Considering
Okay.
their status as
That's
classic
true.
brunch drinks.
Okay. They would have came afterwards. I feel like. Um, fuck, man. I really would have thought the Bloody Mary came before the mimosa. Mimosa. I'm gonna say 1917.
Man, you got real close. It's 1921.
Didn't go over.
1921.
Price is right.
Yeah, no, that's a good guess. So I guess, and neither of them invented in America, both in
Of
Europe.
course.
One on the continent, one in jolly old England. But the Bloody Mary, though, was invented in Paris, but it was
That
invented at a
checks.
place called Harry's New York Bar in Paris in
Okay.
1921, which was frequented by American expats during the days of Prohibition. We all know about
So
like
that's us.
Hemingway and them hanging out over there and
Yeah.
stuff. Well, they all fucked with Harry's New York Bar. Man, that's why, look,
Dude, that's
all
the
the rape and
era.
incest don't hit, but like
No.
Midnight in Paris is such a magical movie
It's amazing.
because it's like you just want to be there. Like,
Well,
like if
the
you could put on a
beautiful
VR helmet and go back to Paris in like the 20s and shit when all these hitting Americans were hanging out over there and just partying and drinking and doing like cool shit. It'd
that's
just
why
be
that
fun.
movie that's why that movie hits so hard for me because like the whole movie is based on the golden age thinking, which is that some era aside from your own must have been better, right? The nostalgia thing. And Woody also just happened to pick the exact era that I feel that way about. You know what I mean? Like like to the fucking nth. Like that's exactly like hanging out with those writers at what's her face's house, and just being there with Pablo. Like that's it for me. Have you ever had the? It's not a bloody Juarez, but like the tequila version of a Bloody Mary. What's it called?
I'm pretty sure there's a thing called a Bloody Caesar that's
That's it. That's it. That's
made.
it.
Well, that I don't know if it's made with tequila, but it's made with like clamato, the stuff that
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
in
yeah.
the stuff that goes in micheladas, which is beer mixed with
Yeah, I
that.
love that shit.
Yeah, that I think that is called a Caesar. I think if you make it with clamato instead of regular tomato juice, and I have had that, and I do fuck
Oh,
with
some
that.
people are
But
saying Bloody Maria.
yeah, that's probably what that is.
Maybe I'm thinking of Bloody Caesar because that's what I've had, and I knew it was more of a Mexican-y thing. I
Well,
like
but again,
Clamato.
yeah, but I don't think that the Bloody Caesar I don't think has a.
Tequila?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It
Oh.
you trade out clamato for the regular tomato juice. So
Oh, well,
like
that hits
clam and
harder.
tomato juice, it adds clam juice to a Bloody Mary, basically.
Okay, well, Bloody Maria, I guess, is what I'm talking about. And
Bloody Maria is the one with tequila. Anyway,
yeah,
in
I like that.
1921 at New York, in Harry's New York bar in Paris, a bartender named Fernand Petiot,
Fernand Pete.
yeah, well, they called him Pete because his last name was Pitois, PTO, whatever,
Pitois.
some French shit. And that, Americans, we can't say stuff, so it's like, I'm gonna call you Pete, and then it just.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what happened. I don't have that.
That's at least close.
Yeah, at this time, Russians were escaping the revolution. Right, they was all getting killed and stuff. They brought their tater liquor with them, vodka. They brought vodka to Paris. That's how vodka was introduced to Paris. Americans escaping prohibition. It's funny. The Russians are all getting slaughtered. There's revolution happening. They end up in Paris, and the Americans are like, they won't even let us get drunk no more. That's what we're hiding out from.
Escaping prohibition.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I mean, I get it.
No,
I don't blame
get
them.
it. I get it too, but it's not like there was a big American exodus to, cope. Like, what's the place you can smoke a bunch of weed and it's fine?
Amsterdam, right?
Amsterdam, yeah. It's not like people have been like escaping over there to smoke, and that's how you know one's a problem and one's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people are just like, I'll just do it over here, and if they get on to me, I'll stop doing it. But we were like, we can't drink. We're fucking moving to France.
But apparently, Americans introduced tomato juice to Paris.
Yeah, that checks out. Because as we've said before, tomatoes weren't, a big old thing over there.
So the Russians at that time brought vodka. The Americans at that time brought tomato juice. And old
Y'all
Pete,
are welcome.
Pete, genius that he is at Harry's New York bar, put them together, added a little, addition of spices, a little Worcestershire, a little lemon juice, whatever. Okay, perfected it. Came up with the Bloody Mary. So shout out to Pete. The mimosa. Also,
and to this day, Russians and Americans have still been making their lives happy.
Absolutely, no tension whatsoever. During the same time, 1921, but across the channel in jolly old England, London town specifically, in London in 1921, at a place called Buck's Club in
That
London.
sounds like us.
They had a house cocktail called Buck's Fizz. All right.
That sounds like
now,
us
Buck's
too.
Fizz was 2-to-1, 2 parts champagne, 1 part orange juice.
Hits.
A guy working there
3-1.
Working there at 1921 diluted it further and made it a 1-to-1, and that is what a classic traditional mimosa is. Now, if you ask me,
Splash.
Buck had it figured out.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I now believe that the mimosa was a mistake.
Yes,
should have been
bastardized.
We should be getting drunk on Buck's Fizz all the time because he had cracked. He had made it hit already.
Yeah,
really. This other guy's a bartender named Frank Meyer. He made it hit less.
Yeah,
So
piece of shit.
That's just my opinion.
To me, whenever if it's a place where they're not serving me, you just like, if we're at like a, like a house party or something, they have brunch, it's like you can make your own mimosas. Like, I fill my shit up with champagne and then splash the orange juice for some reason that's beyond me. Because I don't even care that it's in there.
With it that way. It's like, not just mimosas, anything. It's like, my buddy used to be a bartender, and I come in there and I get like a whiskey and Coke, and he'd just be like,
I got you.
The Coke, and it's like a splash. And it's like the Coke is just for color, but
color.
It don't even really
just so you don't feel like a drunk. Well, that's what it is. Like, you don't
I've
feel
heard
like
people say that like the perfect martini is like shaken over ice in the general vicinity of vermouth. You don't even have to actually put. It's just straight vodka, basically.
Well,
it's like, but
there's something to be said about a little bit of that. Like, I recently found out and have since fucking had decided, like, boy, you need to not do that no more. That, like, I used to hear like, oh, you put a little bit of water in your whiskey and it makes it hit harder. And I was like, that don't sound right. And like, it really do. It sure do. You know what I mean? Just that little bit.
As you know, because you were apparently surprised to hear this when you first found out, which I've always found wild. I've never understood. Maybe we can elaborate on that a little bit. I'm a ice loving fool. Like, I am about that ice life. I need to have ice. I'm never in a hotel room without ice. I don't want a drink that ain't got ice in it. So, point being, when it comes to whiskey, you got whiskey on the rocks. The rocks melt. You end up with a little bit of water in your whiskey, and it's cold, and that's how I'd prefer to do it. But you were at my house once, and you were like shocked to hear that I kept ice on hand. Why is that again? I remember being offended at the time, but I'd like to revisit it and perhaps get offended all over again.
I really don't remember. What do you mean? I was offended that you kept a bag of ice?
No, you were not offended. I was offended. We were at my house in Burbank, the old house in Burbank, and you were like shocked, like openly shocked that I like kept ice. Like you just
a bag of ice.
No. I be having ice in my freezer. I don't ever not have ice. If my shit is broken and I gotta go get a bag of ice, I will. But that ain't ever gonna happen to me unless there's some kind of malfunction.
Hold on.
I'm gonna have.
Do you
ice.
mean your fridge had an ice maker?
No, it did not. Not at this time.
Then what? What would I have seen?
I think you.
I was probably shocked that you didn't have a fucking fridge with an ice maker. You cheap piece of shit. That's probably what it was.
Well, I was renting the place. It was in. It was in there already.
Right.
But no, it was like you thought there would just be haphazard and half empty ice trays strewn about the freezer that people didn't take the time to fill back up or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you're a piece of shit. I mean, it wasn't like, it had nothing to do with like you wanting or not like
shit. But I don't play when it comes to ice. I don't play at all.
You know what it was? I couldn't believe. I don't know. There's no way for me to know because this is like at least 8 years past me. I guess in my brain, because this is how I be, I was probably shocked that you took the time to fill ice trays up when you could just go get a bag of ice. Because that's what I do.
But then you got to go.
I know that, but
the ice trays are in my house.
I know that.
The ice is at the goddamn 7-Eleven.
I'm aware of that. And where you live, going is different than going where I'm at. Like to me, and also I have one of those sliding drawer freezers at the bottom.
Yeah, I do
like,
too now.
And our shit is so packed full of stuff. We don't have no room because like if I was to try to put, because when I was living in fucking Fort O, like we had ice. I had an ice tray because I was broke. You know what I mean? I think that's what it was. Like I associate have ice trays with being broke as fuck.
Well, that's
no
that's
offense.
accurate. It's like
Right. And when you live in it, and you just bought a Jeep cash or some shit like that. So I was like, I thought you was way done with that life, but you right. Like you will never be done with not going. But to me, it's like, I gotta go anyways. You know what I mean? I live in the South. Like we ain't got delivery shit. We ain't got nothing. I'm gonna have to run to the stove.
As I recall it, it was less you being like, damn, you have to fuck with trays, which fair enough.
I've said that to Katie so many times.
Yeah, right. But that part, fair enough. But it was less that and more that you were like, I can't believe you actually stay on top of your ice tray.
Yes. That was it. Because I don't.
And
like I used to try.
I was like, well, you got me three things then. Or you got three things. Me fucked up because I don't. Again.
Yeah.
I'm strict and regimented when it comes to keeping my ice about. Now I got an ice maker because I hit now. But anyway.
I don't know why I think that because like we have a Brita filter and I stay on top of that shit and it's no different. It's still filling up a thing. We need to take a break.
Okay.
No. I thought that's what you were about to say. We don't. Fuck it.
No, well, actually, I'm just about done with brunch. So let me just give you one more little fun fact, and I'm done with brunch. We can take a break and move on. Last fun fact: do you know who is credited with popularizing the mimosa in the United States? Not inventing it, but making it popular. No, before that, 1940s.
Oh, 1940s. Hold on. You said the mimosa?
Yeah.
1940s. Bing Crosby.
Alfred Hitchcock, apparently.
Oh, my man. That's kind
of the mimosas.
That's kind of wild to me because I would feel that similarly that Hitchcock would be a man who was like, I don't mess with champagne when whiskey gets to the point quick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would have picked. Is
that a decent Hitchcock? I've been working on it.
As a whiskey neat guy myself. Yeah, no, that was a good Hitchcock. It did hit. All right, well, that's it for brunch. We more than enough time, I think. So we'll take a break and come back, and then I don't know what we're going to do, but it'll be fun.
Well, I got Beethoven Part 2, baby.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, we'll be right back after this. Tell you what, as a kid, I sure did love me some cereal, mostly because it's made of sugar and it hit and tasted good because I was a big old fat boy. Just a big old fat boy rolling around, waddling, not hitting but eating a lot, and especially a lot of cereal. Man, little rock-shaped Jones. That's not a Southern word. I don't know why I said Jones.
That's a Philadelphia word, but I love it. I respect it. Questlove up in this biatch.
Yeah, but anyway, like bowls of cookies, all that stuff, just chocolate dots and things, just anything.
They're not like cookies. They are
cookies, exactly. Loved it. But as an adult, I'm not insane. I realize you can't eat a bowl of cookies for breakfast and live to, see your grandchildren. Nobody wants all that sugar. And you do need protein, and cereal don't give you that either. So I kind of cut out cereal for the most part as an adult. But then I found Magic Spoon, a nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like all my childhood favorites, but without the sugar and with a ton of protein to boot. If you're already a Magic Spoon fan, I got big news for you. They've turned their popular cereal into high-protein treats that are light, crispy, and taste just like all those classic crunchy cereal bars. Magic Spoon's brand new treats are so delicious and have already become a go-to for me before working out. Before you go, especially if you're going to lift, you need a little bit of energy, but you don't want to bog yourself down, don't want to make yourself sluggish, so it's hard to toe that line and get just the right amount of calories, but Magic Spoon's treats are perfect for that. And Cho, tell them more.
Oh, man, with their cereal, every serving of Magic Spoon cereal has 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. The most popular flavors, for a reason, are fruity and cocoa, but there's so many more for everybody. As far as their treats go, Magic Spoon's brand new treats are crispy, they're crunchy, they're airy, and they're an easy way to get 12 grams of protein on the go. And for the first time ever, Magic Spoon's treats are available in grocery stores with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. And I mean, I love them because, I mean, as you can tell by looking at me, I'm a person who cares about getting their macros in, bro. Really, it's more about the midnight snack and not feeling too guilty about it. But here's the deal, y'all. Get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/POA, or look for Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/POA for $5 off. Magic Spoon, hold on to the dream. Y'all, before I had Ridge, which is the our new partner here, I had this stupid big old leather wallet. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen the episode of Seinfeld where George literally cracks his back because he has this leather wallet. I was very late to the slim wallet trend because I was like obsessed with being my papaw still or something. And I'd have to get a new one all the time, and it was falling apart. And yes, my back hurt, and I was never sitting correct when I was driving. But now my friends over at Ridge, Ridge, got me this super sweet little metal contraption here. You see this, Trae? You like that color? Look at that.
Yeah,
That's my.
does hit for
That's my.
me. I'm
That's
more
my.
of a like gunmetal guy.
Yeah, I was
because I'm a badass, but I do like that.
Yeah, I'm like a Jimmy Buffett parrot head, so I went with
Mhm.
the sort of like coral type thing here. But it's unique, it's slim, it's got a modern design which holds up to 12 cards, which I'm never gonna have, and cash, which I'm never gonna have. But if you need it, you can, and like boom, I just pushed up right there, boom, got my card. It's super easy. There's over 50 colors and styles to choose from. So if you want to be a badass like Trae or a parrot head like me, that's totally cool. But it's made with aluminum and titanium and carbon fiber. So like, even if you get a rainbow colored one, you're still badass in my opinion. All of the Ridge products have a lifetime warranty. And this is so, I mean, it's literally the last wallet you're ever going to have to buy. And does it give you peace of mind knowing that all Ridge wallets have an RFID blocking technology, keeping you safe from digital pickpocketers? Because actually it does me, because that has happened to me one time, and that was an absolute nightmare. They've got over 100,000 5-star reviews. I mean, it's great. Also, it really does. It feels nice. It's super awesome. Trae, tell them more.
Yeah, my number one fear for me with wallets is losing it. I got a pocket tapping system. I stand up and go tap, tap, tap.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure it's there. If it's not there for any reason, I lose my mind. But it's the future, baby. You don't have to worry about it as much, especially with Ridge, because they have an AirTag attachment for their wallets, which means you always know exactly where your wallet is, and you never have to panic or worry about losing it. Ridge, they do other things too. They don't just have wallets. They got a sleek and badass key cases, suitcases, rings. They got all with the same, front.
I got my key case right here.
Yeah, there it is.
Straight from the future. I ain't opened it yet because I ain't got keys, but it looks cool.
Sleek and durable design. No matter what you end up going with, Ridge has free shipping on all of it, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on everything that they sell. Right now, Ridge is having their once-a-year anniversary sale. Get up to 40% off at ridge.com/POA. Just head to ridge.com/POA to see their biggest sale of the year. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. That's ridge.com/POA, and then tell them POA sent you. You get 40% off. Ridge.com/POA. Thank you, Ridge, for sponsoring the show. All right, and we're back.
Forgot about that, didn't you, bitch?
I completely forgot about that. Is this?
That's
I
okay.
can't remember if you said like, is this going to be a 5-parter?
No. I'm not going to do that to people again. I want to get done with it. I want to get done with it in 2 episodes. So we goddamn are getting through with it in 2 episodes. I will make it work. I promise. Although I listened back to last week's episode, man, it was hitting. I'm really into Beethoven, but no, I'm not making it a 5-parter. I promise. I'm not going to have the dollop guys come on here and fucking shit on us again for that. Do you remember where we left off on Beethoven?
No, not even a little bit.
Did you even tell people last time what you knew about Beethoven? How we normally do this?
Yeah, I think so. I just said that, I knew that he'd be deaf, but I understood that happened like later. And, I said something.
You said something. And I also said last time, but I'll say it again. My sources were the Encyclopedia Britannica, Wikipedia, and a Beethoven book that is over on my desk that I'm not going to get. But if you desperately need to hear my sources, it's on the last episode. But we ended the last episode by talking about how his father was sort of like a Earl Woods, Michael Jackson daddy type person. You know what I mean? Who's sort of like beat him into greatness. And I don't know if we ever made it around to this point. I don't think we did. Where like Bill Burr used to have this great bit about like, he's like, you got to beat your kid just enough to where they make Thriller, but not enough to where they fuck kids. You know what I mean? Like there's a fine line. And like, you know, I think perhaps from all I've heard about Beethoven, I think maybe he towed that line. You know what I'm saying? At least for that period. You know what I'm saying? But so we will start now. We left off with that. We're gonna go into Vienna and his early career. So he has a new start in Vienna. He left Bonn, which is what we were talking about last time, and he's studying under Joseph Haydn. And then shortly after his arrival, he finds out that his dad had died, which leaves his brothers in Bonn under the care of his relatives. And like, you know, that don't hit. You've been in that situation. You know what I mean? Where like a parent passes away and you've got to go be the person for people. I mean, I know you had the dad or whatever, but like, you know what it is to step up. And like back then, like it was even worse because I feel like back then, like if one of your parents died, it was like rats just came and ate your house. You know what I mean?
Depending on how old was he?
That's a good question. I think he's like 21 at this time.
Right. Well, look, that still don't hit, but I'm saying
I could be wrong.
You know, because if you were like a kids and your parents died, then you know you had to go be a chimney sweep at an orphanage where you have soot on your face for the rest of your short.
No, he was old enough. Yeah, he was old enough to already be like setting out to accomplish things. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, he stays in Vienna though. He's like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna just plunge into my studies." He took instruction from this feller named Johann Auchsberger. I think I'm saying that right. Auchsberger, who was a renowned theorist and an Italian vocal composition from this feller named Antonio Salieri. And so
Salieri.
Antonio Salieri, yeah. You know that guy?
Salieri?
That's very good, yes.
Is Mozart alive at this time? What's the crossover?
Yeah. Remember they had like, we talked about this last time. That is the fucking guy from the movie. That's Amadeus. That's what I was about to say.
That's like Mozart's nemesis
rival.
Or whatever. Which apparently that
is,
movie is like kind of bullshit or whatever.
Well, of course, yeah.
But yeah, so that's the same guy? Yeah.
You're right, dude. It's so funny. Like, when I was doing all this, like I just seen his name and like that kind of like rang a bell for me. But I was like, well, yeah, so does every spaghetti name. I've done 1,000 putting on airs, but like, yeah, you're right. That's the dude that what's his face who plays Salman Rushdie in a Seinfeld episode plays in the movie Amadeus or whatever. Who like the whole movie's told through his perspective of like being jealous of Mozart because basically, dude, that whole movie is like if I was very successful and you weren't. You know what I mean? And you were sitting there just watching me fart my way through life, knowing that you were the true genius. But anyways, that's the opposite of what has happened. So whatever. Beethoven initially came. So Beethoven.
Way you said that really hit for me.
I know. Well, I'm very funny, and it should not be this way, is what I'm saying. Like Beethoven initially gained fame in Vienna, not as a composer, but as a virtuoso pianist and improviser. I mentioned this in the last episode. Like that was a thing that Beethoven was like super good as. Like a lot of, anybody could like practice they shit and hit their chords and as they said, like, what's his face? Oh God, I'm going to lose my red cred. Ed, guitarist for Skinner. Whatever. Fuck me.
Is he a Van Zant? I don't know.
No, he's not. No, he's not. God damn it. Look it up real quick while I'm saying this so that Burns can edit it and we don't look like idiots. The guitar player for Leonard Skinner, like when they went to
Gary Rossington.
there you go. When they went to
Or you
record
mean Ed King? You were saying
Ed King. That's who I
he's
meant.
the
Ed
one
King.
that he won them. He one that died.
He died not that long ago, and Isbell bought his red eye guitar that he used to do the solo on Freebird. It's the Freebird guitar. You know what I mean? So when he does this solo, here's what I mean by like
Yeah. So Ed
improvisation.
King left way back in 1975.
Yeah. But he had done, because he was like, I did Freebird, it hit. Fuck that.
Yeah,
Like,
nothing else to
I'm out of
do.
the band. What else is to do? So, anyways, I know that you've heard this story, but I know I haven't told it on here. But like the difference between like being really good at improvisational and being good technically, like Ed King, whenever they recorded Freebird, you always like, well, not always, but like this was during a time when you recorded everything separately, right? And so like vocals would be done separately, guitar, drums, whatever, and they would end up going there and picking like, okay, what's the best track, and we'll put it down. You would do many takes. Well, they fucking laid down Ed King's Freebird solo. That solo that's like considered by many the greatest guitar solo of all time, right? They laid down, he did 10 of those in a row, and they were trying to pick which one was the best. And this sound engineer like pulled them all back and goes, they are mathematically the same. Like there's no difference. It doesn't matter which one you pick. He didn't miss a fraction of a millimeter of a fucking note, right? Well, I'm not saying anyone can do that, but what I'm saying is that back in that, anyone can just get good at their repertoire. But Beethoven was like doing sort of like jazz shit. You know what I mean? He was good at just being like, oh, y'all ain't into that? Whatever. So he builds his reputation as sort of that guy. And he's hitting for this dude, Prince Karl Lichnowsky and Prince Lebogowitz, and they become patrons of his. They give him houses. They give him just a bunch of money to hit. And they're just, because basically to them, they got all this money to throw around. They're not even, I mentioned a little bit on the last episode about like, we have Patreon or whatever. So we have patrons, but like they, and they should. They give us money every month and they expect something in return, whether it be an early podcast, whether it be a bonus thing or whatever. These people didn't even, the only thing they expected in return is being able to tell people like, I seen this motherfucker before y'all ever did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that hit for them. Like they were so rich, it didn't matter.
Yeah. Some people I think do that now. It's just,
not for us.
Right. I know. I mean, I'm talking about the artist or whatever. Some of them are just like, if you want to, you can give me this amount of money just because you think that I hit. And, some people do it.
I mean, I do think, like, I remember when I first started my Substack, my friend Alex was like, she goes, you're a good writer. And I go, yeah, but I don't know if enough people will think I'm a good enough writer to spend $5 a month on me. She goes, yeah, but there's a lot of people that just want to give you $5 because they like the free stuff that you put on Twitter and they want to support you.
Yeah,
and I have had plenty of people send me a message that's like, hey, I've actually never had time to read anything you've done on Substack, but I'm never going to cancel because I enjoy everything you do on Twitter. So like it does
No, it
exist.
does happen. Yeah,
But back then it was like $100,000 in your hand. You know what I mean?
I've got plenty of people, who are on my Patreon and stuff who don't ever use it. They just give me money every month because I hit for them. And I appreciate
for the record,
those people.
I appreciate those people more than they'll ever know. And for the record, I actually do that for certain people too that I'm just now realizing. Like I've subscribed to people's Patreon. I was like, fuck, I hadn't even listened to their shit in forever. But like when it comes up on my bill, I'm like, I'm not going to cancel. That person hits for me. Like I want them to have this money to go forth and hit. I just wish that we would get that like grant that homeboy from what's the band that we like? He used to Banjo Boy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God,
Chris Thiele from the Punch
but he's
Brothers.
Not the banjo, right? Chris Thiele's the mandolin, isn't he?
Mandolin, yeah, but he got that. What's that
Gnome,
grant called?
The
Gnome grant or whatever, something like that.
No. Isn't Gnome the name of the banjo feller?
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah. They're all great dudes, but it's the Punch Brothers, and he got that.
Punch Brothers, Chris Thiele.
He got that grant. That's like it's something genius grant.
Yeah.
And it's where they just give you
MacArthur Genius Grant.
Yeah, you can tell I'll never get it because I can't even know what it is.
Right.
But it's where they just give you. There's like here's $750,000. Go hit. You just go hit. You shouldn't do other stuff. You should hit.
Yeah, fucking Hamilton feller.
Yeah,
Manuel, he got that.
When did he get it? Did
I
he
don't
get
know.
it after Hamilton?
No, pre-Hamilton.
Okay, I was about to say that. I was about to say then honestly, that was a good decision. It was a good decision to give it to Chris Thiele too. But like, if they'd have given that to him post Hamilton, I'd have kind of been mad.
Let me ask you, when did Beethoven, he was improvising, doing jazz stuff or whatever. I do think it's like how
it's 1795, by the way, if you're wanting to know when the time was.
It's just like we've said before. It's like everybody at some point, somebody had to come up with everything that hits along the way, right? But then once the thing is invented, then it's just invented forever. And it's wild that people keep finding new ways to innovate. It's like, as far as storytellers and movie makers, whatever, there's only so many stories under the sun, but you can find ways to tell your own version of it. I'm saying all that to say, I feel like in the early days of like music, when these guys were like coming up with music that hits, it's like Beethoven, just the idea that this dude at one point was like, hey, what's this do for you? Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, I know, right?
Just like dun, 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 dude. Dun. And people are like, God damn. Dude. That is fire right there.
Hold on, bro.
Then,
hold on.
It is.
You were reminding me of probably one of the most hidden videos I've ever seen on the internet. Can you please look up if Beethoven dropped today on Google and see if you can bring it up while I'm talking? Because if so, I need you to share it.
I think it's going to work because it it auto-filled. I put if Beethoven and it popped up. Okay. If Beethoven dropped today. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Beethoven just dropped, bro. Yeah, I just saw it. Play it. Hurry up. Oh, shit. I like that. Okay. He don't miss. Oh, shit.
Is that not fantastic?
Yeah. But that it do be like that, and it's funny because it's like, as everyone knows, it's like those same notes throughout the whole thing, but he keeps making them hit in different ways.
Yeah,
and it's just like some of the most brilliant things are like seem simple or whatever. But that's just what I'm saying. It's like somebody who hit at music at some point was like gonna do that, I think, or a version of it.
Of course.
And Beethoven was, the right man at the right time. He landed on it.
Yeah.
It's funny to think about.
That whole enough monkeys with enough typewriters thing is like even exponentially more when it comes to music, I feel like. You know what I mean? Because it's just notes and stuff, like, which is why like I always like every now and then somebody will be like, "Oh, have you seen such and such a song? It sort of sounds a little bit like his old song that was like this." And I was like, "Dog, man, I kind of find it crazy that songs sound so different. Like, how many fucking melodies can there fucking be?"
Right.
And like,
that's what I'm saying.
That's why
it's wild.
Like, it's why apropos of nothing, I won't say why we were talking about it. But like earlier, we were talking about Hanlon's Razor. You know what I mean? Where like sometimes they'll be like, this artist clearly ripped off this person's flow or this person's melody for this thing. And Hanlon's Razor is never a tribute to maliciousness. What can be
adequately
more
explained by incompetence.
By incompetence, right? And in this case, it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes, man, it's just like shit gets stuck in your brain, or like how many ways is there to go from C to D to E to whatever the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But also another thing that I'd sort of like to talk about here is how, like, we're talking about how Beethoven is like showing this strong adequacy for improvisation, which is what jazz famously is. Yet clearly it didn't stick too much because, like, jazz and stand-up comedy are like famously the only two things that as Americans we go like this us. You know what I mean?
We invented
this
art forms. Yeah. The only two art forms invented by Americans: stand-up comedy and jazz.
Yeah, and filming bitches screaming at cops. I think.
Yeah. Probably, I don't know. That might be Brazil.
Yeah, maybe.
Or Russia.
Filming fat motherfuckers falling off stuff.
Yeah, that's us for sure. Maybe
That might
Mexico.
be
I tell you what, my body don't hit to look at, don't hit to be in. But I'm just shaped weird, bad at clothes. Always been bad at clothes, mostly because it's hard for me to find something that fits me right. I know a lot of guys feel the same way, especially if you're blessed with the dad bod, like so many of us are. It's like too many shirts fit well where you don't want it to, and it don't fit right where you do want it to. You know, your belly's hanging out, and it's just like, and then big and floppy around your arms.
You
your
look like you're at a
biceps.
Keith Whitley concert all times.
Exactly. And you don't want that. It's hard to find something that looks good in the right places and that fits you the way you want it to. Well, that's why I want to tell you about True Classic, because they've cracked the code on all that. True Classic, they have premium clothes at an affordable price. All right. They're designed to accentuate the hidden parts of you, like your arms and your chest, while being looser in the midsection. I don't know why. I frankly don't know why shirts haven't always been made that way, but I'm glad True Classic came along and figured it out. You can build the perfect outfit in 5 minutes or less because everything they got goes great together. If cold weather or warm weather, they got long sleeve Henleys, fleece hoodies, jeans, button-ups, joggers, and more. They have best-selling T-shirts, hoodies, and everything comes in packs of 3, 6, 9. Damn, you find.
Damn good time.
When you use True Classic, the more you bundle, the more you save. They have shirts designed for your best features with the perfect fit. They also have active wear. If you're into that, it's their active wear is moisture wicking, odor fighting, quick drying, and they got antimicrobial magic. Cho, tell them more.
Dude, I'm in the same boat. And by the way, True Classic is one of the few sponsors we have that I was actually rocking with long before they came on board. Matter of fact, and I don't know if this is how it came to be, I told our people, I was like, yo, reach out to these people because I already mess with them hardcore. Because, like, there have been many times when somebody asked me how much I weigh. Does that ever happen to y'all? No, only people on the internet, whatever. And I'll tell them, and they'll be like, really? You carry it really well, and I want to take all the credit for that, but it's not true. It's just because I wear True Classic T-shirts all the time, and as Trae said, like, they just sort of make someone who don't hit look like they kind of hit, and all of it mixes and matches to go with your lifestyle. It's 100% perfect fit guarantee with easy returns, trusted by over 4 million customers, by the way. So this ain't some niche thing, with 200,000 5-star reviews. As Trae said, they got hoodies and they got jeans, and them jeans have really saved my life, son, because ever since I had that kid, I've just been bussing out of all my other ones, and they just come with all of your, they hit all your perfect features. And right now we need it more than ever. They're premium clothes at a not premium price. It is affordable. So whether you're bundling up for the cold or getting ready for the spring, level up your style with clothes that actually fit right. Just go to our exclusive link at trueclassic.com/POA to save. That's trueclassic.com/POA. Shop now and elevate your wardrobe today.
Have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting right now, Blue Chew is offering a combo so strong, it'll knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks off. You porking your neighbor too? You could, but that's not what I mean. I just mean you might have to move towns with all the noise you're going to be making with new Blue Chew Max. Blue Chew Max has arrived, and it combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable super wiener. Okay, that's what it was. Wiener's not chewable. One super wiener chewable. I don't know. You know what I mean? It makes your wiener hit real hard. The combo acts fast and it lasts for a long time. All right, guys, be ready when she needs it. Get your first month of Blue Chew for free. Great sex is just a few clicks away. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew's tablets are made right here in the U.S. of A., prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part of the whole thing, it's done on your computer down there on the internet there, which means no more awkward visits to the doctor's office and having wiener conversations and waiting in line to get your dick pills at the pharmacy and running into your old line coach or none of that stuff. You ain't got to worry about that anymore. Cho, you're a devotee.
Dude, I'm a huge devotee, and I'll tell you what, Blue Chew Max, man, the first time I told my dick about Blue Chew Max, my dick was just like, hold up, bro, we done already down here shoveling coal with the regular stuff. You know what I mean? Like, every Thursday night when your wife gets off work, we're like them poor soot-faced some bitches on the Titanic, just whoosh, whoosh, How can we take more? Well, I'll tell you what, it sure can, buddy. And Blue Chew will not stop until every man is bricked up like a bricked house. It is more horsepower, baby. I mean, look, what's better than something, Trae?
What's better than
More,
something?
Something.
Yeah.
What's better than 5 crawfish dinners is 6 crawfish dinners. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or whatever, however the saying goes. There's nothing sexier than confidence, and Blue Chew can help give you that confidence where it counts. And we can all relate to wanting to feel more confident, especially us chubby, bald fellers, especially in the bedroom. By the way, make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew for free when you use the promo code POA. All you got to do is pay $5 shipping. You do that, give your dick a break. That's promo code POA. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. And as always, Trae,
get you a new dick.
why wouldn't you? So I got to work my way through this because I'm just now at his public debut in First Works. We'll fucking blaze through it. It'll be all right. His first public concerts as a solo pianist took place in late March 1795. Over 3 days, he performed one of his own piano concertos, an early version of what became Piano Concerto Number 2 in B. Of course, you know that one of his more famous one. Also appeared in Mozart's D minor Piano Concerto, and the debut was a huge success. So shortly after, Beethoven he put into print a couple of his pieces that he deemed worthy of his opus number, which was the 3 piano trios. Opus 1 was dedicated to the Prince Lichnowsky, which was one of his patrons, and they were super financially lucrative because it's not dissimilar to what you do now. Like there were music you published your music back then. Right. So you would, I'm sure it was a little bit different because it was way easier to steal back then because there was no internet or people keeping check on it. But if a touring person was selling tickets and would say if they were to say hey, they will be performing Beethoven's Concerto Number 3, that person would have to then pay dividends to Beethoven. You have to license his music or whatever. So what you would do was buy a license.
Just buy it up front and then you can play it. They had to pay. So basically they were paying royalties and shit even back then.
Well, no, that part I can't speak on. I was just breaking it down or whatever. I think they would probably. I think back then they would probably buy it up front because how would you be able to tell how many times or whatever? That's probably how it would be worked out.
The honor system or something.
It would just be hey, how much do you want for me to be able to? But I don't know if it was in for fucking perpetuity or whatever, but music publishing is still very similar. You couldn't just go play other people's shit, you know. Now, nowadays, dude, it's not like a cover. It's not like every goddamn cover band in the world is paying these people whatever. But back then, in order to buy, because dude, I remember even in VBS, when we would my mom was the person, the Vacation Bible School lady, they would be people who wrote Vacation Bible School programs, the whole theatrical performance, and you could improvise and do whatever, but you would have to the church would license them. You buy we're gonna buy this. Yeah. Oh, do you want the Safari one or whatever? And
any school that does any kind of play or whatever, they have to license it, or at least they're supposed to. It's not legal if they don't, but that's
and
how it's supposed to work. Our buddy Max Brooks is his wife's a playwright, and she just had a college do one of her plays, and they they
Michelle
licensed it from her or whatever.
Michelle's awesome. In LA, if you're ever out there and you see a Michelle Brooks production, I encourage you to go. You know how our church got around having to pay for VBS theatrical plays?
Mm-mm.
My fucking dad wrote them, son.
Oh, yeah.
My dad wrote them and performed in them. He made up a character and stuff like that. He was a character named Boomer. He was an Australian. and he he had a goddamn a boomerang that he would throw, and it fucking
Classic.
drove all the kids crazy. And all it was he would let it go, and it was on a fishing line that the associate pastor, who was his buddy, would just go at the very end, and then they'd sling it back, and all the kids were like, "God damn, look out, boy, some bitch!" You know. Anyways, my dad's a very talented man who didn't fulfill his dreams, and now that's why he's how he is. So, anyways, a little sidebar here. Beethoven also had a very, to a lot of people, bohemian look. He was not the Beethoven. When we see him now, we just think, oh, this is a man of high class and stature. But he actually was a sort of scruffy looking person, known for his unkempt appearance and fiery personality. You know what I'm saying? He had jet black hair that he just sort of just like went bleh, and he also didn't he would not shave, but not in the sense of like where he would maintain a mustache or a beard. He would just like shave one day and then forget for 5 days. And apparently, like, I do that almost every week and no one says anything, but back then that was like, oh my God, is this man on opium? What is, what's going on here? He began in 1799. He started teaching piano to the daughters of Countess Anna Brunswick, which was also one of his patrons, which that led to his first serious romantic dalliance with the Countess's young daughter, Josephine Brunswick. And I'm here to tell you that it's not as bad as you think. She was 17. She was 17. That's
and he was
fine.
How old?
Like 24. It's fine. Yeah. Like, dude.
Especially back then, bro.
It's fine. Like,
back then, fucking 8-year-olds had full-time jobs or whatever.
I was about to say, like, I'm not, like, don't think I'm sitting here saying right now a 24-year-old dating a 17-year-old is fine. I mean, the kid shouldn't be shot. But I'm saying back then, like, this dude was fucking. This dude was
I'm not
Mr.
saying it's
Rogers.
Fine either, but what I am saying is it is a very common occurrence in small towns to this day. Just so y'all know, and every town.
The only people are mad about that the parents aren't even mad about.
No one cares.
I mean? Like, no one cares about
the 17-year-old boys who like are pissed because the 17-year-old girls are dating 24-year-old dudes who never left the town or whatever. It's a tale as old as time, buddy.
Yeah. But again, back then, they probably called him gay. You know what I mean? They were like, "What you talking about, boy? She probably got hair down there. What's that about?" You know. So his he also had a bunch of piano duels. I love this quote. He vanquished pianist Joseph Wolf in an improvisation contest. So this is a rap battle. You know what I mean? This is a rap battle of piano shit. And he also similarly outplayed Daniel Stibit in a duel hosted by Count von Fries, which was a patron to like all of these people. So he's just got all his little pawns. Like, y'all go in here and talk shit about each other with your fingers and hit for me. And of course, Beethoven. Go ahead.
Beethoven kind of invented the dueling piano bar.
Yes, that and rap battles.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
Dude, it is wild, but like he was just that dude, and like from what I can tell, like these dudes, Joseph Wolfith and Daniel Slevit or whatever, like they didn't really question that they got their ass beat. You know what I mean? Like, not like a common rap battle. Whereas like there's a lot of like, well, whatever, downloads, motherfucker. You know, like did you see something the other day where like Drake's people were like having to like they were suing something in court, and like under some type of legal jargon, Drake had to like technically admit that he lost the rap battle to Kendrick Lamar.
No, but
like
I mean,
dude,
whether he had to legally admit it or not, like the whole world synced it.
Absolutely, you know, like there's
everybody knows.
Dude, I still see people online that are like, if you really look at it, it's like Drake kind of won the whole thing. I'm like, if you look at it in what way, with the dumbest eyes that have ever been had in a person's skull. Anyways, as we all know, his hearing started not hitting around 1800. He began to notice symptoms of hearing loss, and like he couldn't hear. And it wasn't like how like so the type of hearing loss that he was experiencing actually wouldn't really fuck up most people. Like they'd just be like, all right, well, I got to listen a little bit closer or whatever. But because he was such a musician that required tone and all of that stuff, like it was a huge occupational hazard. Because he couldn't really hear high frequencies anymore, much like your papaw, who couldn't hear women speak.
Women speak, yes. My papa had an affliction, very specific affliction, that rendered him unable to hear women speaking. Nothing he could do about it. Wasn't his fault. Just couldn't hear women talk. Something about the frequency. That's how my mama put it. Something about the frequency.
And we will now refer to that, as I said, as Beethovenitis. But like again, for like any other type of person, I'm not saying it would hit. I'm just saying you'd carry on with your life and like everything would be okay. But like to a musician, I mean, he also had like this constant. It wasn't hardcore, but this buzzing in his ears. It's just like whatever. Like that fuck with me. Like now again, it would fuck with anyone. But like, if your job is to sit at a desk and to like fact shit or whatever, you can get on. If I'm on stage, and I'm not saying that we're more important than anybody, but if I'm on stage and I got this constant fucking buzzing in my ear, and I'm trying to tell, like that's when you're in the performing arts, these things can fuck with you, right? And when he gets to age 31, that ripe old age back in 1802, this had escalated, and on doctor's advice, Beethoven retreated to the rural town of Heiligenstadt, which is outside Vienna, to rest, because I guess they were like, your ears don't hit, sleep it off, And in 1802, he penned a remarkable document known as the Heiligenstadt Testament, which is, and this was a letter to his two brothers, which revealed his huge despair. He admitted that he had contemplated suicide a lot due to his deafness, but resolved to carry on for the sake, Trae, of his art, and to, quote, to seize fate by the throat, the Michael Jordan of the goddamn piano. He's like, fuck that, man. This ain't going to defeat me. I'm going to have a fucking flu game. You kill my dad over $200,000, I'm going to win 3 more, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's just how he was.
That's just how he was that dude.
He was that dude, right? So then we're going to, and I swear to God, we're going to get there today, right? So this is 1803 to 1806, true to his, Beethoven's music after 1802, after he had been like, I'm gonna elevate the game. I'm not going to let this deafness fuck me up. Matter of fact, I'm about to fuck deafness up. You know what I mean? He took a turn. He took a new way. He put out the Symphony Number 3 in B major, not minor, and also the operetta 55 Eroka or Erosia, whatever.
Complete. I don't know.
My guess is as good as yours, and neither. Not really, because I have it in front of me. I just can't read. This was completed in 1803. It's often cited as the birth of the Romantic Symphony. Initially, Beethoven had intended to name it Bonaparte in honor of Napoleon, who he admired as a Republican hero. However, when Napoleon declared himself emperor in 1804, Beethoven was like, well, fuck you. So Beethoven was kind of a real one. You know what I mean? Like, Beethoven liked this dude. This is, guys, let's put this out here.
Sure.
Here's a guy who's this is a guy who's a political figure who Beethoven fucked with, and he was like, this is my guy. And then that political figure did some shit crossed the line, and he was like, you know what?
I don't fuck with you no more.
I don't fuck with you no more. And
how
all
hard
I'm saying
is it, people?
It's possible.
How hard is it to do that?
It's very possible. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So
really should just be the absolute standard for all of humanity.
It should
you
be.
Would think
It should
always work, but
yeah. And I'm not. Again,
not.
I'm not even going to say what I'm talking about here in order to get political. But just like
there's no way to know.
Well, I mean, I don't think it should be any different than I used to love Kevin Spacey, and now I don't love Kevin Spacey.
Well,
no, hold on. His old work. I mean, come on, dog.
Now, look,
Come on, dog.
That's an art from the artist thing. With a politician or a leader,
I'm saying as a person.
you can't do that because that's
right. Because their
who
person
they are as
is
people is directly related to
their policies that they will induct on the fuck. Exactly.
So it ain't the same thing. But like as an artist, because like anybody that acts like Kevin Spacey, like don't hit as an actor is just straight up full of shit.
Well, bro, we started this whole thing by talking.
Fuck him as a person, but bro, when it comes to that whole acting thing,
bro,
he got it like that. So
we started this whole thing with talking about how much a fucking Woody Allen movie is. I mean, come on, bro. No, but I'm saying, like, as a politician, like, who you are is directly related to
politicians. It's different.
Yeah, I mean, dude, fucking Home Alone 2, there was nothing wrong with his performance. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was fine and great TV show. Anyways, his most prolific years were 1804 to 1808 when he did, of course, I mean, I'm wasting my breath here, but Symphonies 3 through 8 and the Waldstein and the Appassionata piano sonata. You know what I'm saying? Also, I mean, hold on. If we're doing a fucking verses here, also, the Ramonutsky String Quartets, Violin Concerto in D Major, Fidelio, Symphony Number 5 in C Minor, Number 6 in F Major, Pastoral Piano Concerto Number 4, Mass in C Major, and Choral Fantasy. Has there been a better run than Bruce Springsteen from fucking 82 to fucking 87? I don't know. Like these are the two greatest runs I've ever seen in my life. Unlike early, unbelievable. Unlike earlier composers who depended on church or court appointments, Beethoven operated as a complete independent composer in Vienna, supported exclusively by loyal patrons. So, and I think a lot of what this is insinuating is like a lot of these people, like when you are, it's a grassroots that he's Bernie. You know what I mean? He's like a Bernie type dude. So like a lot of these people, like they would get so much money from the church, but it diluted their art because the church would be like, "Hey, we want you to do this about the Jesus and the Mary," you know. And Beethoven was like, "Ich Stein, fuck you," you know, or whatever. He's like, "I'm not doing, you know, like I'll just keep all my donations at the $5 to $6 cap, and I'll just keep doing whatever it is the fuck that I want to." And losing elections, you know what I'm saying? But he did that. Like he you know, he fucked around like that. And this feller, hold on now, excuse me. Napoleon's brother offered Beethoven a Kapellmeister. You ever heard of that? Kapellmeister?
Did that come up the first time or no?
Maybe.
That sounds
I was a little buzzed up.
Man, that's really ringing a bell for me for some reason.
It's funny, not me. Kapellmeister position at his court. It's probably. I'm sure it's come up before because this is clearly a position in French court. Because Napoleon's brother is often offering it to him. So I'm sure we've just talked about it before. He offered him a Kapellmeister position in his court in Westphalia, and a few Viennese noblemen, Archduke Rudolf, Prince Kinsky, and Prince Lobovix, which were notably earlier I'd said two of his patrons, banded together to guarantee Beethoven an annual pension of 4,000 florins to keep him in Vienna. And this was apparently a very remarkable agreement, which was essentially paying Beethoven to just, like, this was enough money at the time. It was essentially like someone coming to me and you and saying, Trae and Corey, you will never go without forever. Do your sketches. Do whatever you want. Do anything. If you want to do your
really super hit,
it would be awesome. Like, do your, and I know, and, you know, unlike Beethoven, we might have a hard time getting started after hearing that initial, you know, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like you hear that and you're like, oh, I feel like I'd go, well, I'm going to take 2 weeks off to process. Right. And that 2 weeks would turn into
it's like, can I just not do the thing that hits for you and still have all the money? Because that would be the absolute best outcome.
Yeah. Though financial troubles arose when Kinsky died and Lobowitz went bankrupt, so Beethoven, he did receive some of the promised funds via legal action, but he didn't get all of that. Then he starts going way more deaf during these triumphant years. His deafness was like getting like real bad, and he just kind of just didn't tell people because he didn't want people to pity him, or he didn't want it to get out there that like, hey, maybe don't hire this motherfucker because you don't know, he might just get on stage and his ears might finally explode. And like,
don't hit when ears explode.
It don't hit when your ears explode. And he started using them special ear trumpets. I don't like
classic, bro. Classic from back then. The fucking It's funny that those worked. I mean, I get it, just fundamentals of sound or whatever, but
yeah,
it's a funny look. Big ass horn up to your ear.
It's a funny look, but like with the only time I've ever like when I think of what's your image when you think of the ear trumpets? What's the first thing that comes to your brain? Because I've got a very specific
I kind of think maybe it's Beethoven for me.
Okay, to me, it's the Ken Burns documentary where FDR is talking to the last surviving members of the Civil War,
yeah, that's
and
a good
all
one. Yes,
all of them are sitting there, and they've all either got one of those in, or they're fucking like holding their ears so hard or whatever. So I'm going like, I understand how you'd use it in that situation, but if you're playing the piano, how does this fucking thing like how does that stay in your goddamn ear? You know what I mean?
And I'm here to slave hold the ear trumpet to your ear the whole time.
Yeah, just like Mick Fleetwood used to have a boy that would come through with a cocaine knife and just
make it
he'd hit it a little bit. Anyways, where am I at here? Sorry, I lost myself. In the summer of 1812, Beethoven met the celebrated German poet, as we all know, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, at the spa town of Teplitz. And these two dudes was apparently people have been wanting them to get together. They're like, dude, you play piano, you're a poet, like get y'all shit together and come hit. But their personalities like super clash, and like this one story, says that like they were walking together and they came across these members of like the imperial family, and Goethe, who was just like, this like I guess a high society type dude, stepped aside and bowed, and Beethoven pulled his hat down over his head, crossed his arm, and was just like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Which like goes along with his whole like, as soon as Napoleon became emperor, he was like, meh, I don't like this stuff. By the way, like I gotta tell you, Beethoven always hit for me as an artist, but I didn't realize that he was like a fuck the bourgeois guy, because he seems like a very bourgeois person.
For sure.
So like in my reading of him, he is like super hit more for me. And while in Teplitz in July 1812, which is shortly after he meets Goethe, he writes this passionate 10-page letter addressed to an unnamed woman that he called Mein Engel. Mein Engel, mein Überstich Giblet, which is my angel, my immortal, my beloved. And the letter, which was never sent, it was found in Beethoven's papers after his death. And the exact intended, like the person who he was going to send this to, is one of the great mysteries in like all of modern art.
Was Evanescence referencing that? My Immortal by
My Immortal, you might be right. That, by the way, that song fucking
goes.
But dude, that song fucking
love Evanescence.
Oh my god!
Level.
First off,
yeah.
I wish I knew her name, but she taught me that there was several different types of women that I'm into. You know what I mean? Like when she came out, I was like, oh, I'm for that. I'm for that. Like in a big way, I'm for that. Say her name. I saw you clicking.
I was looking up. I was trying to find if it was a reference or not. Amy Lee, that's her name.
Oh yeah, Amy Lee. I can't remember that shit. Anyways, modern scholars such as Maynard Solomon argue that the immortal beloved was likely Antoine Brunetto, a married woman and close friend, based on contextual evidence. Others have proposed that it was one of Beethoven's earlier loves, Julie Giacardo, yada, yada, yada. But anyways, he was pouring his heart out to someone that he considered his soul's one true love. You, forever mine, forever yours, forever ours. This is what he wrote. And this unfulfilled love, combined with his loneliness stemming from deafness, marked the end of Beethoven's triumph. After this, he's sort of just like, fuck it. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I I know when the deafness first crept up on me, I was like, I'm gonna beat it. But then it got worse, and I guess whoever this lady was, like, didn't want to. And I got to figure, like, if you're someone like Beethoven and you profess your love to someone, and they're like, nah, you got to be like, well, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gone. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, if I professed my love for someone and they were like, nah, I'd be like, okay, second verse, same as the first. You know what I mean? No, but like if I'm Leo and someone turns me down, I might be like, all right, time to pack it in. Got to hit the gym or fucking kill myself, whatever. His last public performance was April 11th, 1814. He played for he premiered his Archduke Piano Trio, Operetta 97, with violinist Ignaz Schrapensia and cellist Joseph Link. And his hearing loss was just like unbelievable at this time. Witnesses said that he was like playing with huge passion, but like often very out of tempo because he had no fucking idea where everybody else was. So like everybody else was kind of just having to get back with him. So, similarly to jazz, in 1815, Beethoven's brother Caspar died of tuberculosis, as you did, leaving a 9-year-old son. Beethoven loved his nephew, and in his will, Caspar had named Beethoven co-guardian. So Beethoven entered into a huge legal battle with the boy's mother for sole custody, because that could, like, back then that could happen. Like nowadays, if a kid dies, it just like stays with the mother. But back then, it's like, maybe it goes to the uncle because you're just a woman, So this battle goes over for like 5 years, and at this point, the boy's 14. So I got to figure that, like, it's like, well, at that point, it's like, well, fuck, he's an adult, send him off on his own. But this, like, super fuck with Beethoven's, like, mental health, his energy, affected his health, all that stuff. He had a lot of health issues at this time, and just sort of fell out of, not favor, but just like, I mean, everybody always loved Beethoven, but he just sort of slowed down. He had a little revival in like 1817, where he started taking commissions again and shit like that, to this fella named Archduke Rudolph, which it inspired Beethoven to begin the Grand Missa Solemnis in D, which is fire, but then he does the Mass and Ninth Symphony, which is that was like his, man, I would like to compare it to like something Scorsese's done, but like Scorsese just kind of seems like he's like, dude, Scorsese's got like movies promised for like the next 6 years.
Yeah, hitters like that always do. I'm sure some of them won't end up actually seeing the light of day, probably, but
yeah, but like
forever. Although they can't take too much of forever at this point because he old as fuck. But
so, anyways, like I said, he'd been ill for a while. In December 1826, Beethoven returned to Vienna from Gischendorf, and he was in horrible health. He had cirrhosis of the liver, which is like, he has cirrhosis of the liver. Like, in none of my, they never mention like Beethoven being this huge drunk. I maybe like back then it was just like taken for granted, like everyone drank. You know what I mean? So it didn't stand out. I mean, is that what you think? Because like
yeah,
I don't really hear,
especially. I feel like everybody just drinking wine and shit all the time
in Germany and France, because like I don't hear a lot of cirrhosis of the liver from non-drinkers. And nothing I've said has been like Beethoven was a huge drunk, but like, whatever. Like, and dude, some people, like, they be drunks and you just don't know that they be drunks because like they just got it like that. You know what I mean? Like, there have been dudes like that I've known where they've died and everybody's like, I was like, God damn, what happened? They were so young. They're like, oh, they drank themselves to death. I was like, fucking what? That dude always seemed like he had his shit together. And it's like, they just got it like that. You know what I mean?
You got a big gay rainbow on your face, by the way.
Do I? Nice. Oh yeah, I'm in
fitting.
I shouldn't have to explain anybody. It doesn't really matter. But I moved my thing in here to do a live stream, which I appreciate everybody joining me on Sunday. We did a live stream of the Players Championship, and I forgot to move it back. And I'm very comfortable here, so I think I'm just going to stay. But anyways, he was bedridden. They had a bunch of procedures to try to drain fluid, which, like, in that era, dude, like, bro, like, not that hits now, but they can at least, like, numb you, but back then they had none of that. So they just stabbed you with a rod through the fucking lungs and just started draining your fucking fluid. You know what I mean? So it like super didn't hit. So anyways, he ended up dying. His death was obviously a huge deal in Vienna. 10,000 people lined the streets for his funeral procession. Schools were closed. Soldiers had to control the crowds. Composers carried torches. It was some shit out of like when fucking Dumbledore died. You know what I mean? They're all out there just like, throwing their wands and shit like that. But it was a big deal. And obviously his musical legacy is, I mean, he's got to be on the music Mount Rushmore, right? Like the only way he'd be not. It's like Beethoven, Mozart, Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson. I'm being serious. I'm being serious here.
Yeah, no. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like that sounds crazy, but I'm kind of being serious here. Like he's definitely, and like the only reason Beethoven would only be knocked off by like someone like Mozart. So like he's definitely on there. But like obviously huge, man. I mean, Beethoven is like synonymous with fucking concertas and piano stuff. And he was just, and by all accounts, a super hitting dude who only fucked 17-year-olds. So like I gotta, I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get some people to write in that he did some worse stuff. I didn't find it immediately, so that's what I'm going with. There you go.
It's for me. That was Beethoven. Yeah. One thing I did want to say, first of all, my son's at a friend's house, and he's been texting me. I'm about to have to go pick him up. So can we?
Yeah, we can skip airmail. That's okay.
I'd say sorry, everybody. You can blame it on me because it is my fault. Skip airmail for this week. But I did have one thing I want to do before we plug and leave. Sorry if I missed it, or maybe it was last time, but I don't think you ever brought up my own personal favorite Beethoven jam.
I don't know if I did or not.
Me, I'm a Fur Elise guy. Did you talk about
Fur Elise?
I
love Fur Elise. I don't think I did talk about Fur Elise.
Here's a little masturbatory treat for all of our listeners.
You've never done this before.
That won't hit for people. Yeah, I know. But this is a rendition of Fur Elise by acclaimed ukuleleist Trae Crowder. This is me playing Fur Elise on the ukulele. Everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, check it out.
What?
Yeah.
Are you being serious? Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. That's amazing.
Here it goes.
Dude, have you ever put that out anywhere?
Done. Tell you what, the pandemic was a special time,
Dude, I'm sorry
I can't do that no more. I haven't played my ukulele in forever. I need to pick it back up.
I'm sorry for even interrupting that beauty by me saying stuff, but I was blown away. Like that was beautiful. Like that was. Have you put that out anywhere? Like on your Patreon? No, on your Patreon or something.
No. Well, also, again, at this point, it would be misleading. I've just told the listeners how old it is. Like I said,
well, you know what's funny is like
I can't do that. I mean, I could dust myself off and get back into practice, and I could do it before too long. But right now, I can't
I'm actually glad this happened because the other day, like I was telling a buddy, I got my guitar over here because when we did our live stream, there was a weather delay on the PGA on the tournament, and I had my buddy over here, and we're like, how the fuck do we did a fucking 8-hour live stream, straight 8-hour live stream, and I was like, there's a weather delay, and he's like, you got a guitar? And I was like, yeah. So we just fucking did a concert in the middle of it, and I was like, man, I really want to learn to play guitar, but like my schedule's so crazy that every time I start to get it, I'll have to stop for a long time, and then my fingers will go back to whatever. And he's like, why don't you just do ukulele or something like that? And I was like, you think I'd hit at ukulele? And he's like, I mean, it's the easiest one to learn. And I was like, I don't know that I'd hit at it. And my point is like, I clearly would because you do. Yeah. So, Yeah. So anyways, plug your special, bro. It's so funny.
That's right. The special is out. It's called Trash Daddy. It's out on YouTube now. Please watch it. It's been hitting for people, which hits for me, of course. And also come see me on the road. It's completely different material than what's on that special. this weekend when this comes out. I'm in Boston tonight, I think. No. I'm in Boston tomorrow. I'm in New Hampshire tonight, Boston tomorrow at the Wilbur, then Binghamton on Sunday, and then coming up soon a lot of other places, including in April 11th and 12th, Knoxville with Drew Morgan, and then Chattanooga with the Cho himself, and then many, many other dates too, all at TraeCrowder.com. Check them out. Come see me.
Thanks to everyone who saw me last night in Atlanta. There you go. Please go to WeLoveCorey.com. That's how you can be a patron of my arts. And you can also check out the latest I did for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It was about how AI may take away the meemaws at our meeting 3. Do I think it was good? Yes, but also acclaimed sports writer and around the horn veteran Woody Page sent me a message about it. That's how fucking good it was. So read my writing. That's it. Listen to Well Read and stay fancy, motherfuckers.
Skew way.
Skew way.
Skew. Here's Lydia Lovelace.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at putting on airs, putting on airs, putting on airs.